When I was younger, I come from a pretty big family. I am one of five girls and two boys. And I kind of, not only did I see myself as the quote unquote ugly duckling of the family, it was kind of bestowed upon me, right? I definitely got bullied a lot when I was younger and made fun of and picked on and all of that by my siblings, by people who I considered friends at the time, strangers, anyone, right? And it was it kind of just instilled in me this belief that, well, I'm just not pretty and I'm not going to have a man. And that's not even a belief that was instilled in me. I was actually quite literally told those words on multiple occasions by my mom, by my sister, by my mom's friends, sister's friends, whatever, right? Like it was always just and people would just blatantly tell me like, you're not pretty enough. You need to lose weight. You're too fat. And otherwise you're not going to get a man. And obviously when I was younger, I used to get hurt and my feelings would be, hurt and I'd be upset. But while they were telling me these things, there was something in me that would tell myself and my mind mentally, you just wait and watch. I am going to get not only the hottest guy, I'm going to get the richest guy, and I'm going to do it looking the way that I do. And I'm going to prove all you people wrong. And and I just that would just come to mind. Anytime someone would pick on me, yes, on the surface, I would hurt, I would cry, I would be upset. But I always had this little voice in the back of my mind that would say, you just wait and watch. And that kind of was true for damn near any desire that I had that people may have deemed as too big and too grand. Um, my friend she said it's like having audacity, which I agree with. Audacity is the perfect term because you have to have that audacity to and not necessarily tell it to someone's face, but to decide for yourself that no, I'm going to have what I say I'm going to have, right? So that was from I don't know, like birth till my not late 20s, sorry, maybe early 20s. And I just always heard that. But as I started dating, one, I made sure to like never I started developing really high standards. Everyone around me would always say, "Oh, you have such high standards. You're never gonna find a man, you have such high standards." And I felt like a lot of times that came from a place of people kind of looking at me and thinking, like you like get real with your desires. And I refuse to because what do you mean? Like why can I not have the man that you people think I can't have, you know? And so just from very young, it kind of I had this voice in my mind saying, you just wait and watch. And I think because it went on for so long that it kind of just became an innate part of me. And so when I started like dating, I always again made sure that I dated a very specific kind of person. And for a while, well, man, I should say, for a while, a lot of the guys I dated looked pretty damn similar. Um, and a lot of them were objectively good looking men. I remember one time we were talking about relationships or something with an ex of mine, with a colleague of mine, and she was like, "Oh my god, all the men you've dated are so fine." I was like, "Yeah, I know," and they were like all fine. They were all well off, rich men, and I mean, like very wealthy. And like again, the type of men that the people growing up told me that I couldn't get because of the way that I looked, and I did it anyway. And then I came on the manifestation path, and then got to manifesting SP. And for a minute with him, when things the first SP, I suppose, when things kind of went south before I realized it came from me, I I thought I was like, oh, maybe people like for a moment I questioned myself. I was like, maybe people are right. Maybe I can't get the hot rich guy looking the way that I do, whatever. Like I started to doubt myself, but for no reason because I was not the problem. Well, I mean, I guess I was because I created the problem, but like I wasn't the issue, you know? And yeah, I guess you can say it's self-concept, but I never really viewed it as self-concept because if you look back on at my life, I wasn't a very secure person. I was very insecure. I used to be very cognizant of what I wore and how I dressed and how I looked because I was so insecure because I was always told like people are always looking at you. Like my physical look was the only thing that kind of mattered. So I was tried to look my best and, made sure that I was all neat and tidy and presentable. So I had a really shit self-concept. But I had that little nagging thought that, well, it doesn't matter because I'm gonna him get that guy the way that I look, whether I'm big, small, short, tall, whatever it was, right? Their concern was my weight. And like I said, looking back on it now, I I did exactly that because I had the audacity. I dated the good-looking men. I dated the rich men, and it was also never intentional. Sometimes I didn't even realize like what kind of men these people are. I just was like, oh, this guy looks, he's good looking. You start up a conversation, start talking, and then at some point you find out, oh, okay, well, you're a Forbes lister. Got it. I remember I met this man at one of my first jobs. He used to come and get his drink. I worked at like a juice shop, and he had like this dazzling smile and like this cool boy look. He was a little bit older than I was at the time. Well, he was much older, but he didn't look his age. And we started flirting, and then one thing led to another, and he started coming more often, staying longer. We would just chat and chat and chat. And something was really cooking there, and the register had like this point system where you would put in your phone number, and then you'd get points, and eventually you'll get rewards and perks. And I remember every time I punched in his phone number, his name would pop up, and I remember his name clear as day. So it got to a point where I decided to quit that job and just walked out because I was like fed up with my boss and everything. And I felt like, damn, I really thought I was going somewhere with that guy, but because I remember there was one time where he came in the morning, and I made his drinks and we just kept talking, and he was telling me all about his upcoming projects and how excited he was, and we were talking and talking, and like and I just knew he was gonna ask for my number, but then right as he was about to, this like customer walked up and he was like, oh crap, gotta go. So he like, I mean, he did it in a nice way, but he ended up leaving, and then that was that. And then I think the next day I ended up quitting, and so I felt like there was something kind of left unsaid between us. So I remembered his name and I said, you know what, let me Google him. Maybe like his, social media will pop up or something. He didn't have social media at the time. He didn't have anything actually. But a YouTube video popped up, and then like his LinkedIn popped up, and I thought, huh. Because back then, I mean, I think 19 at the time, 18. And LinkedIn was not something my peers were using, right? It was like social media and Twitter. So I looked him up, and I'm watching this YouTube video, and someone's interviewing him. And then I look at his Forbes page, and all of a sudden I see all this, sorry, not his Forbes page, his LinkedIn page. And I see all these articles written about him and the company that he owns. And I was like, oh my gosh, And so it kind of happened like that. Like I just meet men just like so randomly. And then, I come to find out like these are the kind of men that most girls would, love to be with. Um, So that just kind of became something for me that I created, I guess, without having the self-concept, right? Like I said, I was a very insecure person. Trust me, I had my doubts. I had my lots of moments where I was like, oh, I'm not pretty enough or I'm not this enough. But I just was like, no, it doesn't matter because I like again, call it ego. I don't know, but I was like, I have to prove these people wrong. I used to tell myself that I had to prove them wrong because I was not gonna end this life and be what people were telling me I would be. And I think that's audacity, right? Like that's not that I don't think that has anything to do with self-concept. That's just maybe conviction, decision. I don't know, but I was not going to let someone else tell me that I couldn't have something because they decided I couldn't have something, right? And when you look at, I guess, the journey altogether, that's essentially what it is. It's you making a decision on something that you want for yourself, whatever it may be, and then going about your day. And maybe you'll run into people who tell you, well, you can't have that. That's too crazy. That's impossible. That's not realistic. Oh my God. I love when people say, that's not realistic. You really want to talk about realistic? Anyway, but you meet these people, you right, who just right away tell you what your limits are. And you kind of have to be, I mean, when you're not on this journey, when you're kind of not elevated in consciousness, if you will, you fall into that. You think, oh, maybe am I being unrealistic? Yeah, maybe it's just a dream. Maybe I should just forget it, right? Then you kind of start doubting yourself, start questioning why you want it. You start thinking about something else that you should want. But as you find yourself on this journey, manifestation, you, you have to know that it doesn't matter what someone else tells you. That's their limits. And people will. Maybe it's my assumption, but you probably will meet people that are gonna tell you, you're being crazy. Nuh-uh, you need to get real, get realistic. Even people in the manifestation community will tell you you cannot do certain things. There are some people that will tell you you can't manifest SP because free will. There are some people that will tell you you can't manifest large sums of money overnight because I don't know, whatever reason. There are people that will tell you you can't, I don't know, like they're just you. People will tell you you can't do something, and that's because it's their limits, though. Those are their beliefs, not yours. As long as you have the belief or the knowing or the conviction, whatever you want to call it, as long as you decided it, nothing, and I mean nothing in the world can stop it from happening. The only one that can stop it is you. That's it. And it ain't gonna be God. It's not your mama. It's not your daddy. It's you. You get to decide what will happen for you and what won't. And to some people, that's empowering. To others, not so much. It's maybe a little fearful, like, oh, so is it me then? How come this job didn't work out for me? How come this relationship didn't last? How come I lost my home? And at that point, it becomes a matter of accountability. But if you're in this, you're in this. You kind of have to be just be in this, right? Like you can't decide that you want to experience something and then go right back to saying, oh, well, there's something outside of me that's telling me no, right? Because you kind of have to mm, ha- decide that it is you. Know that it is you that gets to create your reality, and there are no limits to it at all. You can literally have exactly what you want. And I don't know about you, but when I first heard that, I was like, oh my God, my brain just started going off. It started firing. If I can have exactly what I want, I know the exact kind of wedding ring I want, engagement ring. I know the exact kind of proposal, the exact kind of man, the exact home. There's a lot that I know that I want that's very specific. But there's also a lot that I'm like, I know what I want, but I don't care to specify because I just want the experience of it. Like, I know I want to travel the world and I want to see all kinds of countries. Am I going to specify each vacation with like every detail on the itinerary? No, because I'm not, that's not my personality. I'm not that kind of person. I'm spontaneous. While I can be more structured, I'm also very spontaneous. I'll just get up and go somewhere. And that works for me. But like when it comes to my man, I know exactly what I want. And I got exactly that. And I mean exactly. When it comes to like, again, I've manifested very specific homes and car types and all kinds of things, very specific raises within the firms that I worked for, down to a T. And If I would have listened to people outside of me, if I would have listened to what the world was telling me, oh, well, it's not really logical, it's not feasible, then I probably wouldn't have. But I was like, I don't give a crap. I'm getting what I said. It's decided. I decided it, and that's that. Have that audacity to claim what's rightfully yours. And what makes it rightfully yours is your decision. Only you have that right. It's yours. Snatch it. Take it. You weren't put here to live a life by other people's standards. While it might seem like it, you really weren't. It's your life. It's your experience. You get to listen. If you want to have 10 partners, hey, you do you. If you want to, I don't know. What am I thinking? I mean, I don't know. Like, just get crazy with it. Like, anything you could possibly imagine, you can experience, because it starts in imagination. If you can imagine it, it's done, right? Like, I couldn't fathom the idea of m- bringing someone back from the dead. So I probably wouldn't ever experience that, because my mind can't grasp that. But I can, like, understand, you know, psh, mind reading, maybe telepathy, telekinesis, whatever you want to call it. And I've experienced those things. So it's whatever you can fathom, and then have the audacity to claim it as yours. Have the audacity to decide, like, this is it for me. Everyone was telling me I'm not pretty enough, and I'm not thin enough, and I'm not gonna get the man. That's cool. I didn't even believe in myself, but I had the audacity to decide that I was gonna get it anyway. And even if my intention wasn't, it wasn't pure or clean or whatever you want to call it, my intention was just to prove people wrong, because I'm not gonna let these people live their lives telling me what I can and cannot have. Hell no. You know? It's just that. Make that decision and stay true to it. I think that's all that I have on that. So I'll end it here.